my name is Don and welcome back to another episode of Follow, my Football Manager Let's Play with Rangers. Today we are actually going to have a double header. First game we're having Aberdeen away and then we will play Partick Thistle at home. The reason why I've done this is just for the split really. The next game after that will be the last game of the season regardless of when the Celtic game is and who we're playing. But we'll work that out after the Partick game. Little bit of transfer news since the last episode. If I can hit the right thing. As you can see, I scouted a little bit. Tony Dingwall was really the only one that wasn't on the list already scouted that I looked at. No real any other names that stood out to me of people I know that would make it at this level. And we're bringing in Stephen McLean from St Johnstone on a fairly low wage. 1.4k. Very proven striker at this level. He is 34, which was the thing that worries me. But again, okay stats, like not spectacular. Probably won't play him as an advanced forward, to be honest with you. Maybe try and work out something else tactically for him. Even though I think he could still play that role to an extent. The other thing that I thought about him was, because he's on such low wages, it means we can get rid of Waghorn, who is currently on 4k a week. So it's only a small saving there. But I also need to have one look at maybe getting rid of Joe Garner, who is on 12k a week. Which is just too much. And let's be honest, Joe Garner doesn't look a whole lot worse. He's got slightly better anticipation, slightly better crossing. Let's compare, if we can. Once we compare head to head, you can see a big difference, to be honest. Particularly speed, as you would expect. McLean still beat him physically somehow. But Garner is obviously the overall better striker. But for, I think it's a 90% saving, I'm still willing to do that. It's particularly at this stage, financially the club isn't in the best of shape. I think for financial fair play, where is it? There it is. We're allowed minus 4.3 million, and it does say we're actually projected for plus 10 million, despite the fact we have made a loss of 2 million. I don't understand all this financial fair play stuff, I'm not going to pretend to. The only other transfer news that we have to talk about, I mentioned in the last video that I wanted to keep Graham Murray. I'd been looking at him for a long while. I'd looked at other options for an under-18s manager. Crystal Palace come in and they say, listen, we want him. Right? No qualms. I went and spoke to him and I said, listen, I want you to stay. He said, let me make my mind up. I was like, okay then. And at that point I knew he was gone. So I had a look around. There wasn't a whole lot of options, and to be honest, Barry Ferguson isn't really ideal. He is slightly better at working with youngsters. I think he's worse at just about everything else apart from level of discipline than Murray. But at the same time, it was the best of a mediocre bunch. And being a former Rangers captain, and almost a player I watched a lot growing up, I felt that it was a good away. The only thing I don't like about him is he wants my job. So he's not getting that, but I know he wants that job in real life, so it's fair enough. Results wise, I think it was at Johnston last time out. No, it was Ayr, sorry, where Liam Burton, we got absolutely embarrassed. We lost 3-0 to Celtic, another embarrassing performance, to be honest. Mind the suspensions I talked about in the last game, and I looked and I said Tavernier's suspension wasn't shown on the thing. Every single one of them hit. So I think we ended up with something like 4 players suspended, another couple injured. Garner was still injured at this point. He did come on off the bench, but the reality was he was always injured for this game. I just sort of brought him on because the game was already gone, and I thought, just give him some game time. And I accidentally left Lloyd Disgrow on for Harry Forrester. That was an accident on my part, but I don't think that really changed the game too much. That said, the next game we play Hamilton at home. Joe Garner's return, and Harry Forrester and Joe Garner just absolutely tore them apart. Joe Garner shown what we've been missing, and Harry Forrester, who'd been rested for a few games, I hadn't been happy with his form so much, despite them scoring at Inverness. I felt him and Mackay have both been fairly poor. I've got nobody that I can really put in on the right now. So Forrester was the one that sort of got the slack. Mackay's benefited from Garner returning, to be honest. Still, not the best. Oh no, he got an 8.0 there, so I do apologise to Barry Mackay. Got a 6.9 there and a 7.2 there. So his form has increased a little bit since Garner's return. But yeah, that was a very pleasing performance. Then we had Motherwell, another pleasing performance, 3-0 win. And then just a couple of days ago, we had Kilmarnock, again another 1-0 win. Garner scoring in all three of those games, showing exactly what we missed when he was out. I think he now actually, if I'm right in thinking, has the lowest goal to minutes played ratio in the league. Future wise, Joey Barton, his injury and mixed with a suspension when he came back has absolutely destroyed him. I mean, he's still got okay stats, but the physical depletion's just not there. To be honest, I think Matt Crooks and Andy Halliday are both got to be above him in the pecking order next season. It's just now a matter of, can we find a team that's willing to take him and get him off the wage bill? Senderos will go, Garner will hopefully go, and Cranshaw. Well, Garner, I don't actually mind keeping too much, but if we can find a replacement, then he will go. And Joe Garner, the other Nico Cranshaw, sorry, the other one, he's been in decline all season. He's barely got any game time that justifies 8k a week wage. And I think, if I'm right in thinking, that is all of our 4 top earners that I'd be looking to go. Lee Wallace does match Cranshaw, but again, I'd like to keep Lee Wallace. Although again, there is maybe a couple of slightly better options, and he is in decline. So if we get an offer, I definitely will consider it. The other big news is we finally got some international call-ups. John Suter, Danny Wilson, who will return today if he is not suspended. Where is he? And Scott Bain all got international call-ups. The only one that played was Suter, but he got his first international cap, so congratulations to him. Where the hell is Danny Wilson? Here he is. Yeah, he returns today for this game against Aberdeen. So without further ado, I think I've covered just about everything. The only other thing is I'm trying now to record the end of this season before I move. I move in a couple of days' time, but I've already got a number of episodes gone and recorded. Also, this game will steal us second in the league if we win. I think it's like we can only finish top 3 now, and Aberdeen are 1 point behind Hearts and third, so it's like any points dropped by Hearts or any points gained by us seal second. We are 5 points behind Celtic. They had another slip up, but I think the title's now gone. And I think we've also secured European football. Give me an option to say congratulations to Serious Champions League. That is not the case unless there's a glitch with this database that I've not the database that I've downloaded, but the license fix. This is also a very big game in Scottish football. Aberdeen Rangers. Nobody knows why the teams hate each other, but the teams hate each other. There's a lot of talk that it's to do with Alex Ferguson's time at Aberdeen and a challenge by Neil Simpson, but I think it was already starting then, or already at least on its way to becoming a rivalry. That pretty much made Danger Ant nowhere near the player that he could have became. I have started Barton by accident. I meant to start Rossiter. Please tell me McGinn's playing. Yes, he is. Okay, so Rossiter should be on the bench then. But that was a bit of a boob on my part. I meant to start Jordan. I think he's actually missed about 10 games this season just through suspension, which is a bit of a shambles, to be honest with you, Jordan. Particularly when you have the trait, does not dive into tackles. Aggression, from what I've read on the SI forums, isn't actually a contributing factor to how a challenge is made. It just shows sort of how willing they are to go and get the ball, sort of thing. Apparently, it's something like that. I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was something along those lines. So I'm going to be able to get all these episodes for this season recorded in time for me moving on a one upload day, because I'll finish off this season tomorrow. I think episode 4 goes up tomorrow. We're on episode 8 now, so. But it's because I've been rushing to try and get everything recorded to make sure there's no issues while moving. Now, I wanted to keep the current upload schedule as Garner scores again. Of one a day. I will have some internet downtime. I'm not sure what that's going to be. I haven't really got a chance to properly talk to my internet service provider yet. Purely because getting a moving date and getting the help that I need to move has been a nightmare. That's not sort of been other people's fault, it's been at my end, but it is what it is. And it sort of delayed me having an actual moving date. But I suspect it's going to be towards about the time this video goes up. So if uploads stutter, That's why I do apologise. Obviously, it's got to be out with my control. To try and make that up, what I will do, if I do move the day that this goes up, I will upload this episode and episode 9 and upload both, so the sort of the transition to next season is where the delay is rather than a mid-season delay. And I think that's the fairest way to go with that for really viewer cohesion, because if I think it would be a disaster if I was to good effort by Garner, good save from Lewis. I think it would be a bit of a disaster to sort of have a break now, or right towards the end of a season or whatever. I mean, the cliffhanger talk that they always say in movies, but I don't like that. Let's just finish, wind it up, and take it from there. Oh, not really any chances there. I was a little bit confused why that is a key highlight. We're going to bring off Joey Barton. Liam Burt, since returning from injury, has actually got quite a bit of game time. He sort of knocked Onimiyama and Cranchart out of any sort of running for that position. If anything happens to Holt, he's the one that's going to come in and play. To be honest, it's nothing other than I just want to start developing our younger players, and he's sort of the only one that's really ever going to get a game for us. Is still at the club. I actually had an issue where Andy Dallas came into the team a couple of months ago. He's never going to get a game. Oh my! How does that go in? It just, at the angle it goes in it's right in the bottom corner here. Where is John Suter there? He should be the man taking him up, and when he isn't there, oh yeah, that makes a bit more sense. Bain gets a hand to it. Okay, I didn't see that in the initial play. McGinn's absolutely knackered as well. I don't even know if I've actually got anyone for that position on the bench. I do not. Okay. Burt can get a game slightly further back than what he normally has. See how he gets on there. Same role, of course, just as the midfield role support and the attacking midfield roles attack. So he should be able to adjust to it. Okay. Good tackle, Lee. Maybe I actually bring Lee Wallace off. He's came off quite a lot recently for Kavanagh. Just got to give the young man a bit of game time before he goes back to Fulham. At the same time, I'm not going to exercise the buy clause. There's just so many other options that my scouts have recommended. Have we blown this? Okay, I think you might have been able to hold that, Scott. But it'll do. It'll do. But I don't want any more suspensions, really, and that's been another issue. Lee's yellow cards are starting to rock up quite a lot. So I'm just sort of trying to protect them and make sure we have him at the end of the season. I don't know if that's because he's on the decline. Of course, he does play the same system as Tavernier, fullback support. And that role has seen 2 red cards from Tavernier's side. None on Wallace's side, to be fair. And their yellow cards peaked at the same time. So I don't know if that's any correlation. I certainly feel the ball winning midfielder role is an issue, and I think I'm going to switch to centre midfield defend. Next season, I sort of put a post on it on the SI forums just because I wasn't really sure on why. In particular, Rosetta, who's had 3 red cards, and it's a bit frustrating. I'm going to go for... Actually, do you know what? We're still second with a draw. We'll take the draw. I think the league's gone anyway. I don't think we need to go chasing a win, choke, and come third. Not that I don't think we'll have any form that's that bad for the rest of the season. Our form certainly, after the early stage, once I sort of found my feet with who's the best players and sort of adjusted the system a little bit, I think certainly improved. Next season, I'm going to try and focus more on developing the youth players. It's going to be a bit easier, the fact that we're going to be playing in Europe as well. We'll need to have some sort of overlap, should we say, where players just aren't fit enough, and we can't afford to go out and just build a huge squad. Although that said, we're going to free up a lot of wages if we can sell all the players that I want to sell. In the meantime, I will be back for the Partick Thistle game. Far from pleased. It's a derby. Whatever. Just shush. Anyway, so I will see you back in the Partick Thistle game in about 4 seconds for you. So welcome back. We're going into the Partick Thistle game. I actually meant to talk about our youth academy graduates. I brought in 3 guys. Reece Reed, who is an absolute nightmare. He's got 3 determination, but he's got all this potential. And he's a centre back, so we don't have a lot of young centre backs. And there's not a lot. There's been a few I've tried to get on the free transfer, but every time I bid for them, the other team just gives them a contract, triggers an extension or something, and 8 work rate. So I'm not full of confidence he's actually going to develop, but it's risk free. We've managed to get on a professional contract already, so hopefully we can. I'm also training him as a ball winning defender, if I remember correctly, which, again, given his low determination, is a big ask. Excuse me. So, and he's got a lot of other low stats. He'd be much more suited to a central defender role. But I thought if we can work up more stats, it might be okay. But again, I'm not full of hope for this guy. The other one, let's have a look at this. Billy Stevenson is another one. Again, okay potential. He is a striker though, and I can't really see him ever developing into a striker. Concerning the young lads that we have on Oxford that we're going to develop, you know, the Zach Ruddins, the Vaughan that comes in, Joe Dodu, and Matthew Knox, I don't see him ever coming in and really getting any game time. Is this the other one, Jack Waterston? Yes, it is. I tried to get Lewis Stevenson to sign a professional contract. I've not actually tried it with him. No, neither of them are going to talk about a professional contract yet, which is unfortunate. And the other thing I wanted to discuss was the other bit of advice I had, player development advice. Yes, here we go. Liam Kelly is now among the best in the Scottish Championship. He is on loan at Dundee currently. He's actually managed to get 3 first team games, conceded 5 goals in that time, but whatever. That's still fairly okay with me. He is rated a Championship goalkeeper, so to get game time in the SPL is good. The same for Matthew Knox, also now rated as one of the best in the Scottish Championship by my scouts, by my staff even. Could use with improving his consistency and needs to work. Well, they've mentioned that. No, they've not. I'm reading it twice and saying they've mentioned it twice. I'm hit and miss on bringing him in next season and giving him some game time. I mean, he does have some okay stats for an advanced forward. Again, balance is a big worry, as well as passing. But he could come in. We do have 4-star facilities, which are, if not the best in Scotland, they're among the best. So he could do okay. The worry that I've got is he's only scored 7 and 23 this season for Livingston, with only 2 assists. Average rating's been a bit meh, but so his development might be okay. But if we could find them an SPL team that offer him first team football, then I will be more than happy to let him go to that team. So what I might do is put him on the loan list and just be extremely picky on where he goes. Kenny Miller apparently wants to leave because he wants first team football. Don't worry, mate, you're leaving at the end of the season anyway. Kyle Bradley, again, he's never going to really develop into a player that's useful for us, and they might actually just release him at the end of the season. So it was more Liam Kelly and Matthew Knox that I wanted to talk about. Harry Forrester's gone up, and the opinion of the coaches towards his current ability. As you can see, his form's been okay, with one very good game where he got man of the match. That was against Hamilton, of course. We're going to get into the game because I don't want this episode to be too long and it is a double header. I think, do you know what I'm actually going to do is I'm playing Liam Burt, and City does come in for this game. We now have secured second. We are 7 points behind Celtic after that slip up against Aberdeen, but that's okay. I don't think the title was really ever a realistic aim, and in the real life the board aren't really aiming for the title. Second was, well, European football was always their target for this season, with a title challenge next season. And I think, even though I'm wanting to get rid of the high earners, we can do that. Your favourites. Okay, I wanted a bit more of a reaction in that. And, okay, we've got 2 happies. Yay. That's as best as we're going to get. But we have secured European football, so that's the realistic target met. So, I'm fairly happy with that. As Partick kick off, this will be a pointless highlight. I'm not going to try and even talk through it. But I want to start developing the youngsters a bit more as well and start bringing them into the first team. Young Bart with an okay pass after a little bit of a run. But this is what I like about Bart. I don't know if you've seen that, but after he passed, he made a really good run there. And it took a defender away and Garner gets a bit of space. Holt's the other one that does that. You do not see that with Cranshaw and Fred. They've countered his offside anyway, and it was a good block by John Souttar, so there was no disaster to that situation. We should encourage our players to play more direct passing. Possession percentages aren't actually that great. They've just changed, so they've maybe improving. I don't really feel like I want to play more more direct, to be honest with you, game. I would maybe like to bring in a coach that plays the system that we do and understands it for an assistant, but Davy Weir is by far the best option, and I don't really know if having someone that knows the formation they've scored. They've not even got Doolan on the park. That's another player who I looked at signing was Chris Doolan. He is 30 years old, so I was never overly keen on getting him, but I thought if I can get him for $500,000, very proven goal scorer at this level this season. And I think he's still the top goal scorer in the league. As of saying that, I'm not 100% sure. I'll go through all that at the end of the season. But I scouted, the scout reckons 1.22 million. I'm not paying that for a fairly average looking 30-year-old striker because he scored a few goals this season. How have we not got a free kick or a penalty there? I think that was 2 fouls in a row where they don't get the ball either time. We've kept it anyway, and McGinn's put it over from about 2 yards out. He's not the best in the air, John McGinn, but you have to hit that target there. You're 2 yards out with nobody around you. Come on, man. Team's looking a bit frustrated and furious in the case of Bain. I don't think he was at a lot of fault for the goal. He could maybe got down a bit quicker, but I think that'd be fairly harsh criticism. So he's maybe a bit annoyed at his defence. Partick on the attack again. Tavernier intercepting. Good ball out to Mackay in space, and he comes inside. He does have the traits for coming inside, which I'm not particularly fond of on a winger, but it seems to work okay for Mackay. What are you doing, Liam? What are you doing, son? Might also give Roddy McCrory a bit of game time once Celtic secured the title. There's 5 games left after this one. We're already secured for second, so there's once Celtic get the title, that's hit the bar. A couple of FMs ago that would have gone in. Oh, they done well to keep that in there and not give away the throw in. Going to bring on Lloyd Isgrove for Harry Forrester. Feel a little bit sorry for Lloyd. He's came up. He was always going to be a backup, but there's not really been a whole lot of starting opportunities for him, which I didn't really anticipate, to be honest. I thought he would get quite a fair few starts, but it hasn't now really happened. We're going to bring on Jason Holt for Liam Bart, and I need to get Halliday back onto the bench here because neither Barton nor Recitier is really suited for this role. I'm going to put Recitier on it, but Halliday can play both at a similar amount of ability, whereas Recitier and Barton maybe not so much. Give it another 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes got up already as I said it, and we're going to go overload and try and get back into this game. We now need to give up points trying to get wins, I think. Barton does really well under 2 big challenges from Bannigan, and he gets a good ball into his fellow sub Lloyd Isgrove. Back in again, 1-1. If we don't get 3 points here, I think, and Celtic haven't slipped up, I think the title is truly gone. Lovely play from Barton to ride both challenges there. Was very pleasing. Still going to try and get rid of him in summer, but it's you could come out and put 10.0s for the rest of the season. I would still probably try and get rid of him in the summer. So there's nothing he's really going to do to convince me he should stay at the club. In fact, go and come in and just do some 10.0 so people are actually interested in you. We've dropped another 2 points. Disappointing last couple of live comps, particularly the form between the two were really good. I imagine Celtic haven't slipped up yet. We're 9 points gone with 5 games to go. We need them to lose 3 games and draw one because their goal difference is far, far superior than ours because they've conceded 8 less and scored 9 more. So we need them to drop 10 points in 5 games. It's not happening, lads. Second place it is for this season. I will cover all this in the end of season review. Let's see if the split fixtures have been done, and we will just see who we're playing on the last day. St Johnstone again. I thought I'd done 2 live comes against St Johnstone. It's fine. We've done a live come against all these teams, so it's just an okay one actually. We've got Celtic at home, Aberdeen at home. I think we can win both of those games, but I just don't see it being any realistic expectation that Celtic drop 10 points against Hearts, Aberdeen, Partick Thistle and St Johnstone and ourselves. So it is what it is. The title's gone. Europa League next season is still a bonus, will still help us financially, as well as reducing the wage budget as we're doing, and that'll also allow us to have more squad depth for less money. So I will wrap this up here. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked, a like and a subscribe would be absolutely fantastic, and I will hope to see you in the next episode.